Hi everyone. We did ours on Mazda 2 for Lynn St. James. I'm Carlin, Trisha, Alex, and Tori, and we're gonna get started. Okay, a little bit of background on Lynn St. James is she's actually the second woman ever to race in the IndyCar 500. I don't know if you guys are race fans or not. She's also won Rookie of the Year. Um, she established a nonprofit organization. So besides having a passion for racing, she definitely wanted to help women and women in sports. And she got started by Paul Newman, and he originally invested $10,000 into her to start this foundation called Project Podium. So as I said before, Women in the Women's Sports Foundation is like a big umbrella, and Linda decided to do Project Podium, which is a subset of that. The competition for it is draw, and it is Drag Racing Association for women, but more specifically, people that get injured in drag racing. So there really isn't much competition when it comes to women in women's racing. We have two target audiences. One is the grant recipients who are actually receiving grants from Project Podium, and we did that for women 16 to 25. And then donors, that's gonna be men or women 16 to 50. We need people to donate into Project Podium so that we can give out those grants, and we're not gonna subject them to just a certain age. We definitely need a broader range to make sure we get more money. Our collaborations is gonna be Lynn St. James. She is knowledgeable, she has many people in the industry that can give money, that can support, maybe do tires or some incentives as gifts. We also have Mazda and Ford, because she was a big Ford racer for a long time. And then Dark Horse, which is a crowdfunding, which is a specific way for us to get money. And they are targeted for athletics and people in the sports industry. So they definitely know what they're doing. The situation, the brand awareness is low. Most people don't know about racing or women in racing. There's not much about it. So there's something that we can improve on. The environment, it's demographically pleasing for us. During this time, the Long Beach Grand Prix was going to be coming up. There was a lot of races, so for us, it definitely helped out. The economy, we need money, and I know it's a little bit more difficult. We're still kind of recovering from the recession. So getting that money was kind of difficult, which is why we wanted to get Dark Horse Pros. It's a crowdfunding, and they could help us out with that. So for our SWAT, as I mentioned earlier, the strength is that there is no really competition, so it allows us to pave a new road. It was part of a larger umbrella, so we were able to get support from that. The weaknesses is the overall low number of women in sports, in racing in general, and there is just no presence on social media whatsoever, which leads us to an opportunity to grow and expand Project Podium, to get more knowledge about the brand awareness, and to get more applicants. So some threats is when we talk about social media and getting more awareness, like the Long Beach Grand Prix, there's a lot of clutter going on. There's a lot of vendors at the Long Beach Grand Prix. There's a lot of people on social media that are doing GoFundMe, raise money for my dog or whatnot. So there's a lot of clutter going on. But that will just lead us into our three main tactics that are going to be raise general awareness for Project Podium, get more applicants to apply, and raise money for those scholarships for those applicants. And I'm going to pass it to Trish.
So pretty much I'm going to go over the demographics. As we said, women are very involved in this sort of scope of racing, even though they are competing alongside men. That's something that Lynn really wanted us to emphasize. But for the most part, just to get an idea of IndyCar racers, or fans, I should say, of IndyCar racers, which would be the donors here. There's 40 million IndyCar racing fans, and that's worldwide, and that means that's 1 in every 5 Americans. And pretty much they're all going to be biggest group of them. They're all going to be 55 years or older, and they're well educated. They're all educated, and they all have a really good amount of discretionary income that allows them to really put a lot of time into their automotive sort of enthusiasm, passion. Yeah, exactly. And they all are really brand loyal. They're kind of like cult brand followers, and that kind of relates to how they're really into technology, and that kind of relates again to their automobile passion. So they're always really interested in trying the newest, latest technology stuff, whether it's entertainment or just for their home, all that stuff. And they usually make no less than 100K a year and up to 150K a year. So yeah, they make a lot, so they can really, invest in this. And yeah, and most of them also have at least a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree minimum. And so for the psychographics, like I said, they're very into technology. Like they're the ones that want to stand in line for the newest iPhone, or even they can pay someone to stand in line for the newest iPhone, and they want to be onto that new technology. And then part of this tech-savvy audience is that even when they're not working and they're traveling, they have the discretionary income to really invest in their travel. They book everything on the travel websites. They stay at the nicest hotel. Even if it is expensive, they want to stay there because they know what they're going to get. And then they do their car rental and everything. And let's see, so and that just has to do with their workplace because, like I said, they make a lot of money. And they're more likely to purchase consumer electronics and invest in home improvement. Like I said, that can be entertainment, whether it's with an HD TV or it can be like a smart fridge. Like they're really into that stuff. And then again, travel, and they're so invested into their car passion that they also use that discretionary income to use their time to really learn about the latest in media that's going on right now, what's in the news about it, all that stuff. And then on to Alex.
All right, so we really wanted to create multiple venues for the audience that we have. We have older people, 55 years or older, and we have a younger audience in which we're trying to set a foundation for them to raise money so that they can have bright futures in automotive careers as far as women are concerned. We were presented with the Long Beach Grand Prix, which is demographically pleasing because it's right down the street. So it's easy for us to have a lot of foot traffic. It's a weekend-long event. There's hundreds of thousands of people that go there. If we were to go there and present ourselves, whether with guerrilla marketing, it could be flyers, it could be word of mouth, at least getting brand awareness out there was the primary objective. Lynn also had ties to Phoenix International Speedways, the PIS. This is also slightly demographically pleasing, not so much for us, but for her, where she's located out of Phoenix. She can go to both events and have access to hundreds of thousands of people to bring brand awareness and hopefully get donors to donate money. Our second venue was using Dark Horse Pros, like Carly was saying. They specialize in action and extreme sports for crowdfunding. And what they do is basically create a template over multiple social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, for the athletes to post on their profiles ways to donate to the cause. And in this sense, Dark Horse is very beneficial because it eliminates the time consumption that we would have to do to create and manually do all that stuff. So you pay a little bit of money, they take a bit of the profits out so that they can sustain themselves as a company. And time equaling money in all business, that gives us more time to raise more money for the young drivers. Strategies as well as partnering with professional female racers and utilizing their social media platforms. Instead of organically creating a database of followers, which again takes time, if we have a bunch of young female, older female racers, Lynn herself being a celebrity has a lot of people that know who she is. The following that she has, she can blast that out either through email, social media, and they can directly be linked to Dark Horse Pros and donate to the fund. So those grant recipients have access to maybe having a brighter future for their young racing careers. Tactics is using the Long Beach Grand Prix and Phoenix International Speedways to have some web ad space that they can put the foundation just really quick on the side tab, or even a little pop-up with a link saying, here you go, you can donate to the cause. And appearing at the Long Beach Grand Prix with social media as a primary source and word-of-mouth marketing, as I discussed before. Tactics would be having professional female racers post about and donate to the cause. And it's kind of a competition. Whoever specifically raises the most money, we can track that through the crowdfunding source, Dark Horse Pros. Whoever raises the most money, it causes incentive for them to raise the most. They get a free set of tires. So all of them being young racers on social media, trying to kind of make it in the world in racing, they're pursuing their passions. We incentivize that by allowing them to have a nice set of wheels. The official hashtags for the foundation is WI, WC, FPP. So it's kind of a lot, yeah. And step up to the podium. So relatively simple, easy to track for us. The tools we would use through Dark Horse Pros would be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blog posts. That's easy for us to aggregate and look and track through SEO tactics, looking on Google, be like, who's posting about these things through the hashtags. We can all track that. Celebrity endorsements from past and present drivers. Lynn St. James being one of our biggest celebrity endorsements. She's a big racer. She was like the second woman to qualify and race in the Indianapolis 500. So although you might not know her, race fans definitely know her, and she is a celebrity. And that's who we're trying to target. We're trying to target race fans. Financial incentives and rewards for key donors, like we said before, giving a set of tires. Tires, in this sense, is like $600. So $600 for free is something that's really incentivizing for them. And flyers and guerrilla marketing. The goals is just to create awareness. It's honing in on the specific things that Carla was saying. Without awareness, there's no money being raised. Our goal was to raise $5,000, which is relatively simple because there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, maybe in Southern California, that are race fans of IndyCar drivers, so that's a pretty good goal. And increase grant applications for young and upcoming female drivers. By creating awareness, by raising money for them, it gives them a future to endure in the world of motorsports.
Wonderful. Hello. So Resources, our client, well, a PR agency, us. So we also have the crowdfunding company, Dark Horse Pros. They were actually referred to us by Lynn, so that whole connection thing kind of coming back there. We have connections in racing and other companies for sponsors. Dark Horse had suggested to us that we would need big name sponsors, people from Marriott, different types of big companies that we can get incentives and different kinds of prizes, to put together for that crowdfunding goals for people to make. So if you donate $1,000, you're able to get that prize. So we have the drivers to promote the crowdfunding, and then the donators on social media and events. So young drivers, there aren't that many, but the ones that are there can make it very strong. They can actually come out here and, make a difference just being like the 15, 20, 30 that they are. So our timeline was going to be meeting with Dark Horse Pros and developing a fundraising account for them. We did have phone calls and did discuss things with them. As far as they work very quickly on their side, and then we were to provide everything after that as far as what we would be targeting. They would be building us the fan base. We would then be working towards the money. So then we would be creating the social media accounts for Project Podium across various platforms, including Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but not limited to, as well as Tumblr, all those kind of things. People that, you got to reach from every avenue because you never know what kind of people that, are going to be into racing and who can actually donate. And then contacting the drivers to set up social media accounts and raise money to be entered into that contest. So we would actually go out and contact the drivers, and they would, if they're interested, they want to, enter into that whole, you raise a certain amount of money and you can win tires or something like that. These racers do not have money. They're given their money, and they are working towards stuff like this where they can have tires and have a new car, have, simple things like a helmet or something. So that is a big incentive because they're going to need those things. We can provide them that. They would want to help us out. And then contacting the Long Beach Grand Prix to share, women in sports and crowdfunding information on their website, social media, all that kind of stuff. Like Alex was saying, we could put it, on the side, put it on some flyers, anything like that. We slowly discovered that you were not allowed to hand out flyers on Long Beach Grand Prix, which was one of our ideas that we had to go there and do that. So, yeah. And then going there and having a presence with our team, handing out flyers is illegal there. So we were not able to go forward with that, as well as entrance. We were not able to gain entrance into the Long Beach Grand Prix. It was about $80 a ticket, so a little pricey. And then Dark Horse would be presenting a database of followers, fans, and written emails and all of those kind of things. They build the database for us. and then we give it to the drivers, we give it to Lynn, we give it to, you know, whoever she ultimately hires as a PR team, and they take it and they run with it. As far as followers, we had ideas of the girls being on Instagram and, you know, holding different kinds of guerrilla marketing on their accounts and different kind of tactics like that. So, if you're wondering, we are actually connected with Mazda because Lynn knows Dean Case, and Dean Case was also Mazda One's primary source as far as, you know, who we were going to. So that is why we were connected with Mazda, if you were wondering why we're called Mazda 2. So overall, raising awareness for the Project Podium was our main goal. Raising awareness because regardless of who you're going to reach out to, you could reach out to 50 people. One of those people might donate $5,000, another person might donate $5,000, and maybe the rest of them don't, but at least you're raising awareness and reaching out. So raising awareness of the significance of women in racing. There are not a lot of women in racing. Obviously, it's mostly men. We want to raise that so that regardless of the helmet and who's under the helmet, that there is knowledge that there are women racing out there and that they're able to, you know, compete just as well as the guys can. And then raising money for the scholarship fund and being able to ultimately bring in more applicants as far as who we can actually give more money out to and how much and, you know, to who and all those kind of things. And then, yeah, receiving more applicants and then having it go through social media and more word of mouth. So evaluating success, measures that we were taking were times the hashtags been used, followers on Instagram, Facebook, you know, applicants that were applying for the scholarships, how much money we were raising ultimately. What we thought was a good kind of a good area was $5,000. I mean, you know, not trying to shoot too high, but not trying to shoot too low. So $5,000 ultimately for, you know, scholarships. And regardless if that was, you know, to reach 20,000, obviously that would have measured our success much better than, you know, 5,000 and hitting that. So, yeah, so social media users following, the amount of engagement that there is on the pages, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I know a lot of racers, you know, are interested in what's going on, when the races are, you know, who's racing, all that kind of stuff, and they want to engage because they have, you know, they're fans. They want to engage with their racers, just as Beyonce's fans do. They want to engage, you know. And yeah, that is all we have.